So welcome to Shabby Fabrics. Here we love to use tools to create beautiful quilt blocks that are accurate every time. And there are tools out there that help really dial that in. You may be recognizing that iconic log cabin block. It's been around for, well, longer before we've been on this earth, and it continues to be a classic. The focus of today's video, whether you're making the steadfast quilt or you just want to be able to make a nice, big, beautiful 12-inch log cabin block in record time, this is the tool for you. Log Cabin Trim Tool 2 TWO. And there are things that I'm going to be showing you today. This quilt, by the way, behind me, including the log cabin blocks and the sashing and other things, was made in a day. Why was that able to be so fast? This tool. Because this is the work of this quilt. This is normally a lot of work, but with this tool, it is so fast. So give me a little bit of your time and you're going to be like, oh yeah, add to cart. I'm going to absolutely do this. So inside the instructions that are included with the log cabin trim tool, and that is true of this one as well as all the other sizes, is having you cut strips that are at least as long as whatever's needed. I don't like that. Quilters like precision, and it makes it way better when you simply follow the trimming sequence. So let's look at that. I'm going to bring out something else here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our block. This one's actually not all the way trimmed up, but you're able to see the block here, okay? Let's look here. This is the exploded diagram of this block. This is what is part of the sewing and trimming sequence. We'll keep this right here. We have our center square, easy peasy. First light, this is what they're talking about. That fabric is that fabric is that fabric. And that is why it says round one, first light. Let's talk about round. This is a round one, round two, round three. Logical, right? If we did another round, that'd be round four. That's not possible with this because the final destination is a 12-inch block, and with 3 rounds, we arrive at that destination. But let's look back at this. This next fabric right here, second light, round one, second light. Down here, first dark. Notice the precision of this. 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. It's not just some arbitrary length and width. It is what it should be. And that is very comforting. You're also going to be using less fabric by dialing in those cuts to be exactly what's on the sewing and trimming sequence. Please note, the sewing and trimming sequence is not included with your tool. This is something you must download from the Creative Grid USA website when you go to this specific tool. And the specific tool here, it's CGRJAW2. That's how you can confirm that you're on the right product. Be sure you're looking for that Creative Grid SKU number there. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that. And I would love in the future if they would include this in the tool because I think it's so valuable. But I always want to drive you toward, what do we do at Shabby? We use a sewing and trimming sequence every single time for log cabin blocks, every single time. Okay, and then you can see that the second dark is over here, and that completes the round. Then we trim up. We're going to do all this together. Then for the second round, here's our next cut, right? And that's what this is all about. And there's a framework here on that last round that I'll talk about. There's a directional fabric here, and it's these shields. In fact, while I'm here, I might as well just talk about it. These shields. On half the blocks, the shield's going that direction, and on the other half the blocks, we rotate the fabric around, and they're going the other direction, so that when we lay it all out, those shields are all upright, right? So just something to think about with directional fabric. All right, here's how this works. So much fun. We're going to assume you have all your fabrics pressed. We have them perfectly cut. If it's been a while since you've changed that blade, do it. This relies on very accurate cutting. and a nice 1/4 inch seam allowance. But remember, this is an oversized block, so we get the chance to square up, which we will be doing 3 times. Just like our instruction is showing us here, our guidance is letting us know right there in our sewing and trimming sequence that center square is cut to 3.5. Great. If you've got the 3.5 inch from Creative Grid, fabulous, use it. All right, we lay that down. Let's look at this. Next fabric, round 1 light. See how it fits perfectly? Oh, yes, please, right? Sewing with an accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance and always pressing away from the center. Makes it easy, right? Very easy pressing instruction. That makes complete sense. So we've already sewn that, we've pressed that away. So we've done round 1, first light, per our sewing and trimming sequence. That's going to be our guidance. If you're not getting this kit, you won't have this guidance, but you will have this guidance, and you could be using your own fabric, right? You don't need to be using a shabby kit unless you fall in love with this quilt. And who knows, by the time you're watching this video, that might be gone. Pick up the pattern and go use your own fabric, or maybe there's another project where you'd love to make a log cabin block where you're going to be following the same sequence. For the next fabric here, this is the round 1 second light. Guess what? Same thing. Now, the only thing I would suggest is from the back side, I would sew this because that seam is going downward, whereas if I were to sew from this side, I have to worry about potentially having a rolled seam. But go ahead and sew that however you want and pressing to the outside. So we have this. See how this just clicks together, right? These are the exact right length, and you're understanding now how, notice when I put my block back down, I always make sure it's in the sequence, because look what could happen. If I put that down like this, do you realize that I could really put this on any side I want? And have I done that? Of course I have. I do all the mistakes. That's why I tell you about it. Keep putting your block down with the center square and the first baby block up north. That's north. So we're going to keep rotating around. That way we don't accidentally sew a strip to the wrong side. Right side together, you get the whole drill. Press to the outside, last one, press until here is our block. Now, this is the beginning of the very first trimming where we'll actually use the tool. Unlike some of the Creative Grid tools that I've used that say round 1, round 2, this does not. This is why you're watching this video, right? Okay, at first I thought it might be here. Notice it says 12-inch half log cabin. We are not making a half log cabin. That is included in your instructions here. And they have a half log cabin. That is not the block we're making. We're also not making courthouse steps. Those instructions are included in your tool, and your tool can do it. But for the block we're making, shown here inside the beautiful steadfast quilt, your first trimming sequence is this block right here that's outlined in black. We're going to go black outline, white outline, black line outline. Round 1, round 2, and round 3 trimming, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to, I'm going to probably scoot that block up there so I can have as much of the acrylic on my spinning mat as possible. Do you see how I simply frame my center square, and I've got some additional guidance with my dashed lines exposing 2 sides of this. So we will press down, which will activate the grip that is included with all Creative Grid tools, okay? So now we know that these 2 sides have been trimmed, but this side has not. So now I'm going to turn this around. So here's what we have now. we're still framing our center square. We know we just trimmed this. Look at these lines going right up that seam allowance. Trim, trim. Okay. So now, for the moment, our spinning mat is off to the side, our tool is off to the side, and will be used again. But what do we want to do? Orient the block so the baby block is up top. And if you keep using your sewing and trimming sequence, notice how the lighter blocks are in the upper right quadrant and our darks are in the lower left. Keep orienting this so you don't get a little bit mixed up in this. Okay, looking at our next round and looking at our actual block here, we can see that our next fabric, we've gone here and we'll continue to work clockwise, is here. You already know, right? Press away. This one, this one, this one. Everything's pressed away. And that's what this block will look like. Let's talk about our next trimming. Like, I already know where you're going to go, Jen, because you told us. I'm going to grab my spinning mat, which works great with every single Creative Grid trim tool. All right. So there is, baby block is north. We've already done this one. Now remember I said the next one is here. This is the white one. This is the white outline. I'm going to frame that. If you're ever not sure, this is about the amount of excess trimming that you should see. If you saw that, you know it's wrong, right? If you know here and there's nothing to trim, you know that's wrong too. You're going to see two exposed sides when you're in the right spot. Framing my center, kind of finessing right along here. Trim. Oh, I'd move just a touch there. Let me get back in line. Here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we know this and this was just trimmed. Rotate this 180 degrees. Right there. Frame, a little bit of finessing right in here, kind of fine tuning. Right there. One of my other favorite things about the 12-inch blocks, you can make a big quilt in very short amount of time. Nona did this one, and like I said, even with all the log cabin blocks and the sashing and the borders, she had that quilt top together in a day. So that's really fun. I've seen little quilt blocks that are finishing at like 6 inches. If you want a big quilt, that's a lot of blocks, right? So love that you get something substantial in a short amount of time. Okay, as you'd suspect, right, our final round as we add all of our various fabrics, and I'm going to point out something on this very last fabric if you happen to be grabbing this kit. This is the shield fabric right here, okay? So notice how some of our blocks, once we had them done, some of our blocks, remember we have our baby block north, but when I laid out the quilt so we get this beautiful waterfall, we simply rotated that block. That's what this is. We wanted to have the shield straight up. So on half the blocks, you're going to make sure that this fabric that's on that very last round, it's the very last fabric that goes around, half the blocks, this is only if you're going to be doing this exact quilt, and you're dealing with a directional fabric. Half the blocks are have the fabric going this way, and the other half will simply have that fabric going that direction. Will be blocks A and blocks B, so when you lay them out, you're just going to make your shield will be upright the whole time. So anyway, all right. Sew everything, press it away, and my favorite trim, I love this one, this final trim, and we're going to do this one together. You get to trim around all 4 sides at the same time because this was our first round 1, our round 2, and right there it even says a 12-inch log cabin or courthouse steps centering squares. There's some guidance for us. So we will frame that just like that. Look at that. This is a very satisfying thing to trim up the entire block. So now we press. We all know what that's like to do patchwork without the ability to oversize and trim up. And we're just praying, let me adjust that slightly. We're just praying that all the blocks fit, right? We've all said the quilter's prayer. So having the ability to square up with a tool like this is phenomenal. It makes this actually just work. And so thank you, Creative Grid, for just improving the lives of quilters with your products. It's very real. And look at that block. A big, beautiful block, nice, big sizes, big chunks of fabric where an impressive block came together with that, just the grace of each size, each round being able to be trimmed up. It's oversized and trimmed up. So we wanted to show you this tool. I've done other log cabin trim tool videos that were 4, 6, and 8-inch blocks. Really cute. But when you want a substantial quilt that is for the couch, a bed, this is the one. You can get these big blocks done in no time. You get to see more of the fabric instead of being skinny little strips, and I love that. So you can see Creative Grid has done it again. The Log Cabin Trim Tool 2 is going home with me. I like quilts. When it's time for family night, we all grab for a quilt. Well, I want to get those put together, and I want to see more beautiful fabrics and have them go together quickly. So get to the shabbyfabrics.com website. Be sure to put that in your cart. As you can see, it works really beautifully with the spinning mat. And as you can see, those cuts are very, very important. If it's been a while since you changed a blade, just put in some refill packs in there as well. And then we'd love to see what you do with this. We have our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, of course. Connect with our team. We get excited. We actually get emails all the time of images that people send in, and we're excited to see what you're going to make with this incredible log cabin trim tool that really just takes almost the stress out of making an accurate log cabin block and makes it super fun and fast. So thank you for giving me a few minutes of your day to show you how incredible this tool is by Creative Grid.